Hi guys, welcome back to the Oliato YouTube gaming channel. I've been asked a few times about how I've set up my journeyman saves, and for few people I've been asking, haven't actually done journeyman saves before, and they're kind of like, oh, how do you set them up? What do you need to do, and what's kind of a good starting point? So today we're just going to go through that with you. So what you want to do is start a new game, and career, you know all how to do this. Now, what you can do is add leagues from the workshop on Steam. So if you're looking at a fairly low level, um, a lot of the gaps have been filled in. In the vanilla game, most of the, well, pretty much all the major leagues, apart from Saudi League, depends if you view that as a major league, are in there. So the first thing is, what's your starting point? Do you want to start from the very bottom, which is what I typically do? So when you go to your coaching badges and your qualifications, it is very low. So just to give you an idea, teams that are typically you'll be looking at when you start at the bottom are teams in Wales. There are some in Northern Ireland in the lower divisions. Belarus is a good one. I actually happened to get one in, no, not Australia, no, different continent, Croatia this year. So these are good ones to kind of look at. You got quite a few divisions in the Scandinavian League, so Sweden is a good one to start at. Now, you'll see on here there are a few leagues that have been added in that I've downloaded mods for, which includes sort of Malta, Luxembourg, Kosovo. Is there any others on here? I think there's a couple more. Gibraltar, which is a very popular save. No, Gibraltar was in the vanilla game, wasn't it? Ignore that bit. Um, so these are good kind of starting points to look at if you're looking at Kosovo. That was one. If you're starting from the Sunday League badges and everything like that. If you wanted to start a bit higher up, then it depends on how high up the scale you want to go. Now, if you're not quite sure what to put in your coaching badges or what's a realistic starting point, what you can do is look at the clubs that you kind of want to be looking at starting with. And then when you go to creating your manager profile, you have the option to for the game to suggest what qualifications you should have, things like that. So that's a good way to set that up. Now, you don't have to just do the European leagues. Obviously, what you can do is start in South America. There's a couple of additional ones in here. North America, Asia is quite interesting. Once you've got the additional leagues, I haven't really added too many in for the vanilla game, but I know Saudi Arabia's been covered a few times, and a few of the others and stuff like that. So it depends on what continent and parameters you want to start in. Africa is a really interesting one because they never really expand the database there, but obviously the community has. So that's an interesting save to get into. So you have to kind of think, because it's a long-term save, you're going to be investing hundreds of hours potentially into the save. So you've got to have an interest from day one, really, because if you don't, you'll really struggle to get into the save, and you'll find it probably peters out and you lose interest in it. So kind of think of what would keep your interest and things like that. Now, the great thing about Journeyman is you can set the rules yourself. You can change the end game to what suits your playstyle and what you find interesting. So most teams, most players will go in and go, want to win Champions League. That's how I want to go about it, and that's completely fine. It's what I usually do myself. So you'll bounce around different clubs. You'll start at the lower ones, and you'll work your way through the coaching badges. Hopefully, you'll have success on the pitch, and then it'll increase your reputation. Then you can start looking at other jobs and moving across that way. So if your computer is a bit limited, what I would suggest to do is start with just the leagues that will realistically take you on as a manager at the start. At the end of every season, the game will update the league. So once you're into the game, there is a little menu bar that says add or remove leagues. So if you're 4 or 5 seasons of the save, you've outgrown shall we say, you know, Kosovos and Luxembourgs and things like that, what you can do is remove them from the game, and then you can start adding, you know, your Portugals, your Hollands, maybe Greece, Turkeys, you know, teams like that. So they'll get added in, and the game will tell you what date they'll be added in. So once they're added in, you can apply for those club jobs, and that will help maintain the speed of the game if you know you're finding it's running a bit sluggish. So once that's done, that's basically the parameters and stuff like that. So you'll move around to club, and you can kind of just you know, change these as and when it kind of suits you really. The thing I would suggest doing when you start, and if you're fairly sure which country you're going to start in, say for example Gibraltar, it's really important, I think, to do a country like Spain, which is a neighbouring country that have a lot of talent that would be good in your league, basically. So, you know, chances are when you start in Gibraltar, you're not going to really attract Scandinavian players or people that, you know, have to really relocate vast distances and stuff. But Spain's a very good one. It's the same when you're in Wales. It's ideal to have England loaded up, and obviously load England up if you're doing a Scotland, Northern Ireland, Ireland, etc. It just helps, particularly at the start of the game, just to attract some good talent that will come to your country. Once you've increased the reputation of the club and the league you're in, it becomes a bit easier to attract other players. If you're, say, in San Marino, it's important that you have Italy loaded up, again, for the same reason. So consider that when you're starting your save and loading up. So we'll just do this, and then obviously you can use your game speed. Obviously you've got a fairly decent computer here, so obviously just make sure you've got the lower leagues loaded into the countries that you want. So what we'll do is we'll just knock a few off just to load this up quickly. So we'll go into this, blah blah blah, and the game will set up. So typically what I do is I start unemployed to give you a sort of level of realism, just to you know, just keep it interesting for me really. You know, you very much can start at a club. What you can do is, like I said, set your manager up for the team in a save, so you know where your coaching badges and things like that should be. Can I go back to that one? Yes. So obviously your manager profile here. This is what I start all my saves on, because I always start lower leagues and stuff like that. What's important, I think. Can I go to it? Ignore all that. Nope, it's not done it for me. Dear me. Right, so when you're setting these things up, adaptability is quite important, because it will actually say when you hover over it your ability to work in foreign countries and things like that. So obviously if you're setting yourself up as English and you're working abroad, you know, it's fairly important and things like that. Your coaches are going to be pretty poor at the start. I won't worry about that too much. This will improve, but once you've improved it to a high level, you'll be at a club where you've got enough coaches that, you know, you're not really going to be coaching anything particularly important or anything like that, if coaching at all. I think your mental's far more important, because this is stuff that you will use all the way through end game. Every time you're talking to people and stuff like that, then it's very much you know, in play. Whereas this is probably not getting used as much. So I would focus on that side of your profile much more. So we've just got a couple of leagues loaded in here. Oh, ignore that. It's probably because I've done that. So, you know, Gibraltar would be a very good start, and all these sort of things. Obviously, starting employed, manage your style. So this is where you'll set things up. Obviously, I've done defending because it's real life, and that's kind of where my focus is. But you know, this is where you kind of start. And expected, you can see in here. Oh, this is new. So they expect a Continental Pro in there, and then Continental A. In Gibraltar, it's Continental B, so it gives you an idea. But I generally start Sunday League, no coaching badges, just to, for the level of realism. And then you start your game. So we're unemployed here, you got your jobs. Now, what I generally do is go to your job centre. There might not be any jobs at the start, but what you can do is go on holiday, and you'll see here apply for managerial jobs. Now I just go any club, because the ones that would never take you on all Mother's Sundays at the start will just reject you. It's not a problem. There's no negative to doing that. So just go any club, and then I go return a holiday, and I'll probably do a couple of weeks. But it's always worth, once it's finished doing that couple of weeks and comes back, just have a look on here, the job centre, because sometimes there will be available jobs that you haven't actually applied for. I don't know why the game does this, but it's just worth keeping an eye on that. And then just keep rinsing and repeating. Now, if sometimes I've been a bit ambitious with my starting points, and you go 6 months and you don't find a job. Start the save again, but just obviously put some lower leagues in there that you can work and get a starting off joint. But Gibraltar is obviously a very good starting point, and a lot of other things like that. So yeah, that's just a little rambling video today. Hopefully it's given you some ideas how to set up your journeyman. Do let me know in the comments how your journeyman save is going. I've gone 6 seasons in now. I'm top division in Russia. But it was the beta save, so we are looking at doing a new save now. But journeyman saves I think is really interesting, because it gives you some level of realism in terms of, someone comes in and offers you a job. Most people do one club saves, and you just bat away every job application, things like that. But on I've seen the journeyman, the idea is to kind of climb up the ladder a little bit, move around different countries. And what you'll find is you go to different countries, a lot of them do the leagues differently, they have different selection policies. It's actually breathes a bit of fresh air, particularly if you've done Football Manager for a number of years. It can get very samey. Now, some people like samey. I like to kind of expand the horizons and stuff as well. So one of the things I do on startup every year on my journeyman is I will not load up a league that I've managed in the last sort of 4 or 5 years. So it makes you go around to different countries, different clubs, and just taking a bit of their football culture, how they do things. Some people just do the simple league structure and plays each other twice, and that's it. Some do a split at the end, promotion, relegation. Some have selection policies and things like that. So you might have to have, particularly in Eastern Europe, I noticed, on the pitch or starting 11, you have to have a certain amount of players under 19 or under 21 from that country. So it makes it very interesting, and it just kind of breathes a bit of life into a game that can get very samey and a bit monotonous with every sort of save. So it just adds a bit of element of just something a bit different and new, really. So anyway, I think I've rambled on enough today. But anyway, hopefully this is giving you some ideas of how to set up a journeyman saves. Any questions and anything like that, drop it down in the comments. I'll be very happy to help and advise. And good luck on your journeyman save. Thanks very much for watching.